I've been debating all day how I want to do this vlog, and I still have no ideas, to be honest. I have no like creativity today. So this is what you guys are gonna get. You're gonna get a camera angle just like this, me talking just like this, nothing special, nothing extra, but the stuff I'm gonna talk about is gonna be juicy. So stay tuned. All right, so hopefully you didn't click away, because I'm like super bad at intros, but I could not do like a bedroom video, at least not like that, not right now. Because to be honest, that was like horrible. Like just the whole aesthetic of it all is terrible. So I'm gonna take a quick drive. I gotta empty out some trash in my car. I'm not gonna show you the trash, but gonna take a little bit of a walk, find a nice setting, hopefully get some sunlight in before the sun goes down. It's actually a pretty nice day today. It's like, what's today? Today's like August 20th, something like that. Yeah, by the way, so I want to do more of these vlogs. I always say that. I feel like every few weeks I try to do vlogs and I stop doing vlogs, and I try to do vlogs again and I stop doing it. But this time I mean it. I hope, I think. I plan on doing more vlogs. And the reason why I think I'm going to be able to do more vlogs is I'm going to have more space. To be honest, I'm going to have more space because I'm moving, finally. I'm going to be moving to a new apartment. It's a luxury apartment. Super nice, super beautiful. I'm not usually one of those people who cares about like apartments or who cares where I live. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story about where I live now, and you'll kind of get what I mean in just a moment. But I'm not picky about where I live. But when I saw this place, it's super nice. Like when we did like the tour through it, super nice place. Everything I could possibly want. I'm gonna put some like photos, and if I can find videos, I'll put some videos up just to give you an idea of what we are moving to and like what it looks like and the aesthetics of it. Super nice, super beautiful. I'll tell you more about it soon, and I do plan on doing like a walkthrough vlog in the future, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm super stoked. But one of the things I'm most stoked about is I think the ability to just be able to create content and have like a designated spot to like set up my camera, talk to it, talk to you guys, all that stuff, without being like disturbed, without being bothered, without having to think about it too much. I hate the idea of having to like set up equipment and plan out like where I'm gonna do my shooting and all that good stuff. So this will be hopefully a game changer in a lot of ways. And again, I'll tell you more about what I mean when I say a game changer. But yeah, so let's go to the gas station real quick. I'm gonna dump off this trash, and we'll get to the next part of the vlog. I'll see you soon. My Sylvia. So, decided to go for a bit of a walk because the places I wanted to go and kind of sit at were unavailable. There's a lot of people, it was crowded. I still feel weird like pulling out my phone and just doing some vlogging with like tons of people around. I'm not at that point yet, but that's kind of the point that I was making before, where in the future it's gonna be a little bit easier to make content the way I want, because I don't have to be as concerned about where I'm gonna go, who's around, if there's traffic, all that stuff. So, like I said, one of the cool things that's coming up, we are moving, and by we, I mean myself, and now every car is gonna be like super loud, of course, but yeah, myself and my now wife, Ida, we're gonna be moving into a new apartment in Ashburn, Virginia. It's a luxury apartment, whatever that means, but super nice. Like I said in the previous clip, I'll do a tour at some point, like an actual tour, and do like a walkthrough. I might get a videographer to do it with me, because one of the things I'm trying to do in the near future is kind of just like increase the quality of my content. Increase the quality, increase the output amount. I want to put out more content, better content, higher quality content as far as the information given in the content. So I'm super excited to do that. I think it'll be pretty awesome. But so I'm kind of considering this me starting over in a sense. Kind of me starting over from a living situation, me starting over from a financial situation, me starting over from an energy, a goal situation, in just every way, even a relationship perspective situation, I'm starting over. So I'm curious to see what happens in the very near future. And that's another reason why I want to document a lot of this, for myself, for my future kids, for anyone that wants to see the growth that I not even imagine, that I know will come up soon. I want people to see this, and I want people to kind of take whatever failures and whatever victories I have and use them to their own advantage. So another big reason why I'm trying to get back into vlogging. I'm not gonna lie, my cardio is shit. I've been walking for a good like 10 minutes now, and I'm already kind of winded, but it's good. Killing two birds with one stone. Being productive by vlogging and also doing some cardio by doing some light walking. All right, so I'm back in the car because I couldn't find any good spots to like actually shoot content. It's pretty crowded actually outside today. It's good. It's a good thing. It's nice outside, so I expect it to be crowded. But I couldn't find like a good table or anything to like shoot these videos. There was one table I found, and it's like graded, so I couldn't even put my tripod on the table, and it was too close, so like I wouldn't be in frame. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so like I was saying before, this is gonna be kind of a good restart, we'll call it. And for anyone that's watching this, if you're watching this right now, you're not familiar, which you probably aren't because I've never really brought it up. A few years ago, I ended up moving from a 1-bedroom apartment in Leesburg to pretty much a boarding house by myself. Not by myself, there's other people in the boarding house, but went from living in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself to living in a boarding house with other people, other families. A lot of reasons why I did that. One of the main reasons is because I started a business called Affinity a while back, and it basically, long story short, it wasn't very successful. It was successful at first. It was doing well. I won't say successful because success is relative. It wasn't like smashing records or killing it, but it was doing okay at first. Ended up starting with a business partner. We both quit our jobs to like go full-time into it. And just a few different things happened. My business partner ended up moving to Texas. I think Florida at first, then Texas. And it was just difficult to sustain the business by myself. He kind of backed out. Nothing against him, you know, totally fine decision. But it was difficult to sustain the business alone. And my personality is really like, I'm not anti-risk. I'll put it that way. And I'm not it's a combination of not being anti-risk on top of a lot of like business coaches, podcasts, influencers, people you see online saying like burn the boats, go all in. I'm doing a video soon-ish, maybe in the next couple months, where I talk about the reason why you shouldn't follow that advice. But part of the inspiration for that video when it does come out is from me burning the boats, burning the ships with this business, with Affinity. So yeah, I quit my job, went all in Affinity, and maxed out like every credit card I had. I had like good credit cards. I had like a good credit score. I think my credit score was like 750 at the time. Maxed out all my credit cards. Had like 2 Chase cards, Capital One, good credit cards. Maxed them all out. Because everyone around me said, go all in, go all in. So I was like, go all in. I'll go all in. I'll burn the boats. Let's do it. Let's make this thing work. And to be honest, one of the biggest reasons why I think that's such shitty advice is because if you lack experience, like, I'll put it this way. There's a good story about Elon Musk, like years ago. And he talks about when he first started, I think it was PayPal or maybe Tesla. I think PayPal. And he pretty much just burned the boats, and he like sold everything, lived in like the office, and then eventually made like a couple million from PayPal or something like that. I think he was starting Tesla. He made a couple million from like PayPal. He was trying to start Tesla, and he ended up just like putting everything into it to the point where he had to owe or borrow money from his friends or something like that. That more or less, that's just the story. He went broke trying to start Tesla, and he had to, or acquire Tesla, whatever you want to call it. And he had to borrow money to pay rent. And some people consider that going all in, you know, burning the boats, just do what you need to do. Me personally, I think initially, I think in general, you should never go all in. You should find a way to make something work without burning every single boat behind you, without making it your last resort. And it sounds sexy to say, this is gonna work no matter what. But I think in the reality of the real world, you'll find that some things just don't work out. Sometimes you see people who are lucky, and this is what's called survivorship bias. You see people who are lucky, And the lucky ones talk about their successes, and the lucky ones talk about how they burned the boats or they went all in and it worked out for them. And that's cool. It worked out for the lucky ones. But luck is not replicable. You can't replicate luck. So you're trying to base your future off of basically a coin toss, which is foolish. It's not a good decision. Instead, what I think most people should do, what I should have done, is you go as far as you can into something without cutting ties to your safety net. Does that make sense? To me, that's the most logical way to go about something, and that's what I should have done. If I had listened, if myself in the modern day, like if I could watch this video, I would pretty much tell myself, keep the job until like you make 6 times or 1 year's worth, or even 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years worth of income from this business. Then quit the job once you've made those mistakes. Because by the time you've hit a year or 2 years or 5 years in this business, you will have made the mistakes necessary to know what you're capable of. And I think we did it way too fast. We cut ties too fast, both of us, from our jobs. And it didn't work out very well. I think another lesson I learned from that is don't try to force something to work if it's not working. And this is something I think you have to kind of like feel out for yourself. Because I think it's possible to quit something too soon without giving it like a good solid effort. Like I used to have a business called College Conqueror, and I think College Conqueror, I made that mistake of quitting too soon. I did College Conqueror for about 2.5-ish years. It was going well. For the most part, it's actually going pretty well. I was making a little bit of money. It wasn't my goal to make a lot of money, but I was making a little bit of money. And the reason why I really stopped it is because I just started putting too much stuff on my plate. And I was not prioritizing things well enough. I was trying to start like a brand new job. I had just moved to Virginia. I was trying to go to law school. I was thinking about doing real estate. I had just started a new job at this store called Brooks Brothers. It's like a suit place. He sells suits. And drop shipping was like super big. And I had shiny object syndrome. So I jumped ship from College Conqueror to drop shipping. And I made money in drop shipping, don't get me wrong. But what I should have done is really focused and like honed in on College Conqueror, the thing that was already kind of working, really dug deep, really maximized in every area, really tried to figure out like what could make it work to the best of my ability, stuck with it for at least like 5 years. And then at that point, after like 5 years, assessed if it was worth staying in it. I think that's like the nuance. Like some things you can try and it's not working, but it's not working at the cost of you. Other things aren't working, but it doesn't take anything really away from you. College Conqueror wasn't working big. It was working a little bit, which is still good. It's still progress, but it wasn't giving me like the results I wanted. And to be honest, I was young. Again, listening to too many of these like entrepreneurs, too many of these like influencers, reading too many of these books, these shitty books that try to make you believe that you can get rich overnight or you can get rich when you're 21. I'm not saying you can't. People certainly do. But it's unrealistic to think that someone with no business experience at like the age of like 21 is going to start a business and by the next year get rich. And that's what to be honest, that's what I thought at the time. Even now, I hear people who are like younger than me, they talk about like, oh, I'm going to start a business to get rich. It's like, you're not going to get rich. You could, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like put you down and I'm not trying to hurt your chances, but chances are you will not get rich, not in a year, probably not 5 years, most likely not even 10 years. It's going to take you a little bit of time, especially now because competition is more fierce. But a lot of people, when you're young especially, you think that you stumble upon this brand new idea that only you've come up with. And it's like, no, you're not special. Other people have come up with this exact same idea with better ideas. You're competing against everybody. So don't make the mistake of thinking that you're going to come up with this crazy idea and all of a sudden you're going to get rich. It's not, it doesn't work that way. I've said this to people before. There's no such thing as a good idea. There's really good execution. And what I mean by that is if you think you have a business idea that's special, it's not. Someone has thought about it before. A lot of people thought about it the exact same time you thought about it. Millions of people have probably thought about it the exact same time you thought about it and you thought it was a good idea. The difference between you succeeding and you failing is just the execution of that idea. That's really what it comes down to. So, you know, at the time, I didn't have those insights. And basically like bottomed out with Affinity, like I said, maxed out all my credit cards, all that stuff. And I wasn't broke, but money was declining rapidly because at that point I had exceeded the credit cards and I was starting to dip into like my savings. And so I was just like losing money like every month, like rapidly. And it was actually quite lucky. my lease was running out and I was gonna move. I figured, you know what? Why live here in this apartment? First of all, it's expensive, and I might not be able to afford it pretty soon because I'm losing so much money, and I'm not getting any money back because I didn't have a job at the time. I was just working on Affinity, and Affinity wasn't making money at this point because it was just me working on it by myself, and it was too much for me to do alone. I shouldn't say it was too much, but I think it was a combination of me losing money and kind of getting in my head, kind of getting into panic mode, plus me being relatively new to this type of business, like running Facebook ads and doing marketing and essentially just sales, because that's what we did. We did sales to get customers, clients. It was a lot to take in at that time. I hadn't developed like the mind, the muscle of the mind to really handle that kind of workflow. I say this because I think I think your brain adapts to stress. This is my theory. I have no science or anything to back this up. I think your mind adapts to stress. And I think the more stressful situations you put your mind through and come out from, you know, obviously if you go too deep into stress, you could like really destroy your brain. But I think if you go into stress and like get out of it, your brain adapts, almost like a muscle, like your bicep. If you lift heavy enough weights with your biceps, your body adapts to it. And then you can lift heavier weights in the future, or you can lift weights longer. You have more endurance and you have more strength. I think the brain is the exact same way. My brain was not tuned, it was not conditioned to that kind of workload at that time. And that was the biggest mistake that I made. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made too. So losing money, lease is running out, and I pretty much said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna leave this place. I just packed up all my stuff, so I'm not renewing my lease. And I actually didn't have any place to go. I was thinking about doing like a video of like, if I were homeless, this is what I would do. Because I still think about this to this day. Like the thought crosses my mind. Little insight into this video when it comes out. One of the biggest like hacks you can ever do if you ever become homeless, and I literally like mentally prepared for this. I really thought I was gonna be homeless for a bit. If you need to, like my routine, in my mind, my routine was I would wake up at early in the morning at like 5 a.m. I would sleep in my car, first of all. Sleep in my car, find a parking lot near a hotel or some kind of vacant spot where there's other cars, but there's not like a lot of security. And I had places mapped out that didn't have a lot of security, but had other cars, and it wasn't like dangerous. You put like blinders or you put something over your window so that way people can't see in, because I didn't want security or like a cop seeing in the car and like arresting me. Literally, I had this like all mapped out. You wake up at 5 a.m., you go to like Planet Fitness or LA Fitness. I had a subscription to both at the time, a membership to both. You work out there so you can still stay in shape and you can still be healthy, relatively healthy, and you use the showers. Especially for like some Planet Fitnesses are 24 hours. I think some LA Fitnesses might be 24 hours too, but I know Planet Fitness, some of them are 24 hours. So you can always go to Planet Fitness and shower. You can work out and shower and stay in shape, not smell bad. You don't want to look homeless. And then my plan, if I couldn't get a job fast enough, was to go to Wegmans. Pretty much, you know, go to Wegmans or go out wherever there's Wi-Fi, bring my laptop, work throughout the day, look for jobs or do whatever I can, or save money if I really needed to. At night, go to Wegmans. Wegmans has food, you know, you can eat out, whatever. And then repeat that process and go back to my car, go to sleep, you know, try to get some sleep, and then repeat that cycle. That was really my plan if I became homeless. So, little spoiler alert for that video when it comes out. Maybe that won't come out. Maybe that'll be this video. But yeah, so I had planned it all out, like, oh, I might be homeless. Because I was like, my lease is running out and I didn't really plan on, part of me wanted to renew the lease. So I didn't look for any new apartments. And at this point too, my credit's like tanking. My credit score is going down like rapidly because if they're all maxed out and like the interest is just accumulating at this point. And I knew it would, but like sometimes it's funny, like this is kind of a side tangent. If you watch these vlogs, I do a lot of side tangents, so get used to them. Quick side tangent though. A lot of times people think that debt solely comes from like consumer debt or from people that don't understand finances. I understand finances quite well. I'd argue I understand finances better than most people. This is not me like being overly arrogant. Most people don't understand anything about money. I actually understand a good bit about money. I understand more now, of course, than back then. But back then, I still understood a lot more about money than most people. By this point back then, I'd read like 30 or 40 finance books. Books about money, books about fractional reserve banking, books about like whatever finance you can think about. I probably read at least a few books and consumed different audiobooks and watched podcasts on it. So it's not like I didn't know anything about money. I knew about money. I took the risk hoping that I would succeed, but knowing that I could fail. And I failed in that sense. So yeah, credit card debt's just going up because I'm getting like all this, like, it was like everything's maxed out. I had like high balance cards, relatively high balance cards, like a couple grand per card, and it's all maxed out. So I'm accumulating all that debt super rapidly. And then a friend of mine reached out and she was like, hey, you know, this is like during COVID, 2020. She's like, hey, COVID's like crazy. I work at this lab. Things are going crazy at this lab. Do you want to help out? And at the time I was like, well, yeah, are you gonna pay me? She's like, yeah, I'll pay you. If you want to start tomorrow, we can pay you. And I was like, cool. If you're gonna pay me, I'll work because I need some income. Like I can't see it. There's something mentally like fatiguing and super stressful about seeing your bank account drop every single day and seeing no money come in, because like I said, I really wanted to push the boundaries and make this work. So I had subscriptions to like things like ClickFunnels, just stuff I shouldn't have been subscribing in. Really, I should have been going lean. Again, another lesson that you learn from really pushing your boundaries. I should have been trying to go as lean as possible with this business. I didn't know that at the time. Just wasting money on just stuff that did not need to be, that we didn't need. We were trying to be fancy and we shouldn't have been fancy. We should have been lean. So yeah, money just decreasing every day. I said, you know what? I'll work for the lab. It was tough. And I wasn't used to things, you know, it's not like I'm not used to things being tough. You know, over the years, I've worked in like a bar, pretty fast-paced bar as a dishwasher, where you, for anyone that talks about hard work, I know there's lots of jobs that you work hard, like construction, stuff like that. A lot of people I meet, they talk about they work hard, then they work like office jobs. If you work at an office job, you don't work that hard for the most part, unless you're like a CEO or something like that, where it's a high stress position, you probably don't work that hard. Hard work is working as a dishwasher at a restaurant that has certain traffic all day, because you don't fucking stop working. I do not say that lightly. You do not stop working. From the time you get in, there are dishes ready to be washed, and from the time you leave, there are dishes that you still need to be washing. It's an all-day thing. And I remember I'd work at that place from like 5 or 6 until like 3 a.m. You work the entire time. The entire time. You do not stop. You stop to eat lunch. And when you're eating lunch, literally, this is probably the grossest thing, but like, I would eat lunch where the dishes were. So like, I'm just standing on like this table, like eating my like, burger or cheesesteak, whatever I ordered. And you see the dishes like piling up, including the one you're about to add to the pile. And you're kind of sitting there like, fuck, like I gotta get back to work soon. I didn't clock out, there's no clock out. So it's just like, fuck, you know, I gotta get back to work soon because all these dishes are piling up and it's gonna be brutal for me when I get back. And there's an expectation that you have to wash the dishes quickly. You don't wash the dishes slowly. So that's stressful, that's hard work. And it's tiring. You gotta take out the trash too. The trash bags are heavy. There's water everywhere. You don't wanna slip and fall. The bags have like all this food and like wet stuff which weighs down the bag. It's just, that's hard work. That was actually pretty stressful. A lot of people quit, which is why I wanted to work there, because to me it was a mental test of other people can't do it, therefore I want to be able to do it. But that's a side tangent. Like I said, lots of side tangents in my vlogs. I talk in tangents. So as far as the lab though, I was used to hard work. You get in there, it's COVID, it's stressful. That's totally fine. And I actually like the lab. I'm still at the lab, by the way. I do different things at the lab now, but I've been there ever since. I don't consider it a job like a lot of people consider their work jobs. I feel like it's just something else that I do on the side. Much like on the side I do Productivity Accelerator, it's my company. Much like on the side I still do real estate consulting. It's not a job, it's just something I do. Much like on the side I still build websites for people. It's not a job, it's just something I do. To me, they're all the same thing. So, but yeah, to me, they're all the same thing. So it's not, you know, there's no difference. But yeah, so while I was at the lab, I'm still looking for a place to live. My lease hadn't run out yet, I don't think, but it was about to run out like super soon. And just by pure luck and pure fortune, this one girl that worked at the lab, she was like, oh yeah, my dad, you know, is always looking for tenants. If you want to, I can tell him that you're looking for a place to live and you can live there with him. And I was like, okay, cool. If he has a place, you know, if he owns a place, that's perfect. How much does he charge? And she was like, oh, probably like $550 or $450. I think at the time it was like $450 or $400, something like that. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's like super cheap. Keep in mind, my apartment that I was about to leave, the rent was like $1,400. And then by the time you factor in like utilities and internet and all that stuff and parking, it's like $1,700 a month, which was doable, but $400 was a lot less. And so pretty much I was like, I'm gonna move there. I'm gonna build up my credit, first pay off like a lot of my credit debt, get my credit score back up. I was kind of in between saving money and spending money. And this sounds weird. This is like something that I don't recommend everyone do, but this is something that I will do 100 times over. And I think it's a good strategy for me. Don't get into the habit of always trying to save money. I know that sounds weird. I debate people a lot on this. Let me turn my light. It's getting kind of dark now. I debate people about this a lot, but people always say like save money. I don't like the idea of saving money because I think if you start saving money too much, again, hear me out on this. I'm not saying never save money. Saving money is good. But the issue I see with people is people create the habit of solely saving money and they don't spend any money. They get so obsessed with like making sure the balance goes up that they don't want to spend it. And I think fundamentally speaking, from a business perspective, from just a pure wealth perspective, from a just general financial perspective, you can't really make much money without spending some money. That's the way I see it. I think if you really sat there and dissected that idea, you'd find this to be true no matter what. People go, well, if I'm saving money, I can invest. But you don't know how to invest. So you're saving money just to lose it, which is stupid. Like, you go to school, you probably pay for tuition. That's spending money to get more money. The idea is you spend a little bit of money on tuition to get back more money when you get a better paying job. That's the ROI. Now, college is different. It doesn't work that way in real life. But that's the concept. That's what you think is going to happen. When I got my real estate license, the idea is I spent money on the classes. I spent money on the test. I spent money on office space, all that stuff, with the hopes that I get an ROI, that I get money back. This is how you make more money. You need to spend money to create money. And a lot of people just try to save. I had a conversation a while back and someone said, well, what if I save my money and go buy real estate? It's like, you could do that. Like, think about it mathematically. You could imagine there's a world where you don't have to pay taxes, you don't have to pay for housing, you don't have to buy a car, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You can make, say for example, 50K. Let's say you make 100K. You make a good income, pretty modest to good income. You save all that money. You don't pay any taxes. You have 100K in the bank. What do you buy? You want to buy real estate? You don't understand real estate because you've never tried to buy real estate. And the sad part is you're probably going to fuck up. I'm being real. You're probably going to fuck up because this is how the world works. And because you don't understand, because you've been saving money and you don't know how to actually make money, you're going to lose that 50K or that 100K. And now you got to wait to get it back a whole nother year, a whole another 2 years, however long it takes you to make that money back. Then you'll try again and you might fail again. You probably will fail again. And you know what? You got to wait another 1 or 2 years to get that back. And this is the downside of saving. It puts you in a mindset of scarcity, really is what it comes down to. You're being scarcity minded. You want to hold on to your money because you don't think you'll get it back, which is why you save. But you're better off just spending money, learning how to spend money, understanding how money works, understanding different ways to make money, understanding like the different pitfalls behind spending money. And if you do that fast enough, you don't have to worry about losing money because you'll have, by this point, will have found ways to make more money. Does that make sense? So I say this because 100 times over, I'd make this decision again. When I was contemplating between saving and spending money when I was, over the past couple of years living at this boarding house. And my thought process was, why not just spend more money? There's no real risk. I'm not looking for a new place to stay. I don't need to buy anything. I don't need to care that much about my credit score. Because this is like, to me, this is like a weird mental stuff. A lot of people obsess about like credit scores and things like that. You don't need credit unless you're gonna take out a loan, really. That's the only point of a credit score. A credit score is essentially a score that lets a lender know that you're trustworthy. But if you're not using a lender for anything, who cares if they think you're trustworthy? Does that make sense? So I just spent money as much as I could. And I spent money trying things like different ads, like Facebook ads, personal branding, taking photos, trying different business ideas, whatever I can spend money on, I spent money on. And to me, that's an ROI in itself. It's an ROI in experience, which most people lack. Most people lack experience because they're too afraid to try new things. They're afraid to spend their money. They want to save it. They'll never learn anything. So that's what I did over the years. I ended up just spending money, and it worked out. In the grand scheme of things, when you combine all the different things I'm doing, I make a lot more money now. I make more money now than the average household family income. I won't say my actual income. I'm gonna try to be more transparent in vlogs. There's some things I will be transparent about. There's some things I won't be transparent about. The reason why I don't like to say my income is because I think if you say your income, it influences people's perception of you. It can influence it positively, but it can also influence it negatively. And as of now, I think the negative influence outweighs the potential positive influence. For example, the positive influence, let's just say hypothetically I make 150K per year. If I said that to you, you might listen to me more because now you see me as someone more trustworthy. But the problem with that is that you can't prove that I make 150K per year, and you don't know how I made that 150K per year. This is like hypothetically speaking. I say this because there's people out there who might throw out a number like online gurus. They'll be like, oh, I make $1 million per year. Then you look up their financials. They don't make $1 million per year. But most people don't understand money enough, so they don't know this to be true. They assume that what this person says is true. And they listen to them blindly without doing research, which is what I did in the past. That's how I learned this lesson. So I could say I make 150K per year. You can believe me if you want, or you cannot believe me. It doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't positively benefit me in much way besides a few people possibly listening to me, when in reality they should just be listening to the advice and dissecting it and determining if my advice is solid by itself within its own merit. That's what a smart person does. But I understand that if I give an income that I hypothetically make, that is almost sort of a way to establish credibility. We'll put it that way. It establishes credibility. It's stupid, it's not logical, but this is how human brains work. If I don't say my income, there's less expectation of me from people that watch this and from people that might know me in real life that might watch this video. Again, hypothetically, if I did make 150K and people knew this, they might expect me to pay for things more. They might try to hold me to a higher standard. They might try to leech from me. They might try to get too much from me. They might try to be takers instead of givers, or people that are reciprocating value. Does that make sense? So I think for this reason, as of now, I could change my mind in the future. I might change my mind in the future, but for now, I don't want to give my income. But the only thing I will say is I do make more money now than the average household family does. Not one person, household. So take that as you will. Hopefully that establishes some credibility without putting me out there too much. I'm not rich, don't get me wrong. I'm not rich by any means, but I'm doing okay for myself and I'm increasing my income constantly. So it's gonna keep going up. But I say all this not to, like, you know, it's not to establish credibility. It's to say that I think spending money is a better strategy than just saving money, because you don't learn anything from saving money. You learn stuff from spending money and failing and fucking up, making mistakes, falling down and getting back up. You don't fall down when you save money. You just don't go anywhere. You don't grow. You do nothing. But my bank account grows because I save money and I accumulate money. No, because if you spend it, it's all gonna go away. And the only purpose of money is to spend it in the first place. So it's pointless. You might as well not have it. Money you're not willing to spend is money you don't have. That's my thought process. You can challenge that in the comments if you want to. That's how I see it. If you do the math, this is how it all works out. So yeah, ended up doing that, lived there for a bit. I think I moved in 2021. It is now 2024, so 3 years later, we are in a good position to, me and my new wife, I just got married a few months ago, which is still crazy to say that I have a wife. But yeah, we're gonna be moving into a luxury apartment. So that should be pretty nice. I look forward to that. Yeah, it'll be a good time. Like I said, I'll keep you updated. I'll give more lessons. One more thing I want to say in this video, if you're watching this, I want to get your thought process in the comments below if you made it this far. What I'm trying to do is I want to do like I've said I want to do higher quality videos, but I want to like inject a bit more creativity. So with the vlogs, I do plan on like doing more like fancy editing and adding in like special effects and all that stuff. One thing I want to try and experiment with is I want to do almost like reality TV type segments. And so what I mean by that is I want to shoot with like a nice camera. Maybe this camera's actually not too bad. It's kind of bad now because it's getting dark. But with a nice camera, shoot like adventures. Like I do plan on going on more trips. I do plan on like every couple of weekends or so doing like a cabin trip or just like a trip to a different state, something like that. Something that it's nice. It's a nice change of pace. Something that'll make the wife happy, and something that I can also film for content. I'm being brutally honest. I want to talk about things like taxes and stuff in the future too. I'll get into that. But basically, the plan is to, as we're recording, do almost like, it's hard to describe. Like if you watch reality TV, they always do these like cutaways where the person's like in a chair and it's almost like an interview, and they're giving their perspective of what you as the viewer is watching currently. Like for them, it's a past event, but they're speaking in present tense. Basically, I want to do that. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's a cool like documentary style technique that I think might add a little bit more pizzazz is the first word that came to mind, but that's a lame word. A little bit more uniqueness, we'll say, to the vlogs. I'm trying to like make a cool vlog, and I want to separate my vlogs from everyone else's vlogs, because I know vlogs are like pretty big. I think there's like a decline in it for a bit. Now I feel like people are starting to like get back into vlogs. I think they're necessary if you're trying to build a brand. I won't say necessary, but I think they're useful if you want to build a brand. But I also don't want to do like basic ass vlogs. I don't want to do like just normal vlogs. I want cool vlogs, because, you know, why not? Like, you got to be creative. So that's the goal. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you think about that. If that sounds like a good idea, if that sounds like something you might be interested in. So I'm still brainstorming it. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it, but there's a high chance I will. I think it'll be easier once we move into the new place, because I can just set up like a little station where a camera is present and just hit record and talk about the experience. But yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a like below as well. Leave a like. I'm saying it like leave a comment. Click the like button below. Helps with the algorithm. It's getting dark now. I'm about to bounce and get some Subway. I'll see you next video. Peace and bye.